Hello everyone, my name is Karel, and I'm going to be starting a new Let's Play of From the Depths today. Now, I'm going to be doing something a little bit difficult this time around. I've played this game quite a bit before, so I am going to be doing a very hard campaign. In fact, I'm going to max out the enemy growth factor here. I'm going to set the resource I gain for destroying enemies to very little, not quite nothing. But I do want to set that very low so that I have a really vested interest in harvesting from resource zones. If this setting is all the way up, that means I can pretty much just destroy enemies, and that's my main resource income. If I set this lower, that means the resource zones in the campaign map are going to be much more valuable to me, and I'll actually have a reason to take and hold them. I've got max blocks set to around 30,000. I'm not sure how well this is going to play with the recording, so we will just sit with that for now and see how that works. We can always change that value later if we need to. So, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first thing you'll notice here, the starting fortress that we started with, it's not there. And this little helicopter thingy is just sort of floating around here. What? So, kind of what we're looking at here. I want to make this a really fun run, and to do that, I'm going to force myself to do some things I normally wouldn't do. I'm going to go all vehicles. I'm not actually going to use any fortresses this time around. I'm just going to use these little vehicles for resource gathering, and you can see these are doing some work here. They're pulling up resources, they're doing good work. But I'm not actually going to use normal fortresses for resource gathering at all. The other thing I'm doing is all aircraft. I'm not going to be touching the surface of Neater, that's this game world, at all. So, I actually, if I head over this direction, well, I'm heading off this way more than I'd like. If I go off here, you will see I have this little tiny flying vehicle, and I am actually perched right on top of here. If I hit tab here to go back to my camera, you can see I'm actually just riding this little vehicle. And it's kind of wobbly. It's not the best vehicle in the world, just saying. So, I am actually going to be doing an all-air run. So, yeah, no touching the surface. If I touch the surface, I die. I've got this little suicide pill over here on the right of my hotbar on the bottom of the screen there. And I'm just going to use that if I ever touch the surface. So, let's get on with the action. I have that starting fortress back here, which I'm actually going to pull out of play now. And I have my little attack vehicle here, which I'm now going to conquer a territory with. Oh yes, and the other thing, while this is going on here, the other interesting thing we're going to look at, this is going to be an all-aggression run. So I'm going to go in here to the diplomacy, and I'm going to make everyone hate me. Only way to go. Everyone hates you. This is a little difficult to do because I actually need to insult everyone here until they declare war on me, and you can see this is actually changing some of the alliances around as I do this. I'm going to have to make a couple of passes in order to make sure everyone properly hates me. So, we're getting there. Yeah, people hate us enough now, at least. Alright, looks like we got out here just in time to see a explosion. That was actually one of the Sea Vipers going down from our very high-flying thing up here. Tell you what, I am actually going to take all points out of Sky Captain as well. I actually don't like how that interacts with my vehicles. And Space Captain as well, why not? There we go. So now I should fall out of the sky, at least until I get to a slightly more reasonable altitude. Most of these vehicles I'm going to be designing in the vehicle designer before I bring them in here so I can make sure that they work a little bit, because a bad vehicle design in this is going to cause trouble with me hitting the water and killing myself and all that stuff. So, I'm going to be designing in the vehicle designer, but the bonuses from your character don't seem to actually apply there. So, yeah, I'm just going to bring those in here, and I'm going to keep my character bonuses here for Sky Captain and Space Captain that'll affect the physics of my vehicles at 0 so that things act like they do in the Vehicle Designer. So, we've conquered this one little territory here, and you can see we've already got an invasion. This green line over here is coming from, it looks like, the Lightning Hoods over here. It's going to take a while to get here, so I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, it looks like we've also got a Deepwater Guard invasion coming here, if you can see that line working its way over here. But I think we can forestall them. Let's go ahead and take this guy out of play. Let's go ahead and move him over here. Now, I'm not showing this vehicle off too much, this little Wobbler guy. It's because he's pretty basic. I'll give you a quick overview of him here during this next fight, but he's really not that complex. He's a small jet with a couple of helicopter blades on him to keep him in the air, and one missile launcher. That's really all there is to it. So let's go ahead and spawn this guy back in. Well, let's give him a second here. Make sure he gets into combat here. Looks like we got a fleet of 4, probably Sea Vipers, since we're so early in the game. Nothing he can't handle. So let's spawn him in there. So this is actually my little Wobbler vehicle. You can see those Sea Vipers over there. We're already shooting missiles at. So this is the Wobbler, rather, sorry. We have just a tiny little missile turret down here. It's got some ejectors on it. It has a missile with a thruster, 1 fuel tank, 2 warheads, and some fins and guidance. And you can see it's doing work there. The early Deepwater Guard vehicles are all pretty vulnerable to missiles. They don't really have any way of defending against them. They're slow, and yeah, it's a very easy way to kill off early Deepwater Guard. So, just a quick look at this vehicle. It has a very tiny engine on it, just enough to power its thrusters, and it has 6 ammo barrels on it. The reason I put so many on there is because that is going to be just enough to constantly keep this missile launcher firing. I've also got the AI set up on this vehicle to kind of constantly coast around in circles around enemies. So it's going to try and keep its distance away from things and just pelt them with missiles. So it looks like we just finished off that force pretty good. Let's go ahead and pull this guy out of play. And resource zones are going to be really important to us here. Let's go ahead and take this guy. So early altitude there. Yeah, and let's point this way. Let's go ahead and speed this game world up here. You can see up here this top speed of the vehicle has been calculated to be 42. It's actually a pretty impressively fast vehicle for a very early game jet. Alright, and it looks like the Defense Force is coming out to fight us, so let's spawn back in. And let's head over and see the action. Yeah, it looks like we got some land in play here. Looks like my weapon controller is firing from a little bit further away than I'd like, but it's not too big of a deal for now. Not too worried about that. Since the ammo regen is all passive, those ammo barrels each regenerates, what was it, 2.5? Yeah, 2.5 ammunition per second. And then that missile launcher, each missile tube that you have on a missile launcher will go ahead and regenerate, or cost you rather, 12.5 ammunition per second. So a total of 6 ammo barrels should be enough to keep that constantly firing with just the passive ammunition regeneration. We don't need any ammunition processors on that vehicle at all. So it's just going to keep firing away, and it's going to be firing for free. The only resource that thing is costing us to operate right now is fuel. And you can see we're already collecting some pretty good resources from this. Even with the salvage turned down so low, even blowing up Sea Vipers gives us quite a few resources over a short period of time. But now we've got a bigger opponent here. Those Sea Vipers really don't have any ammunition that can hit us. This guy, on the other hand, is a bit more of a threat. And it looks like, yeah, here we go. Coming in for a fight. This guy isn't too big of a threat either, really. These turrets aren't positioned quite correctly on the arms, so they really can't aim well. You can see they're sort of flailing around, trying to get to where they can actually shoot. Not too big of a threat, and I'm just gonna sit here and pelt this guy with missiles for a bit. Gotta love the missile shower. What was that? That was, interesting. I guess the missile... I can't talk today. I guess that missile kind of ricocheted off the sloped armor blocks there. Missiles can ricochet off armor if they don't hit it at a good angle. Almost got this arm detached over here. That's a good hit. Sooner or later here, we should be able to get some frags in here and hit those ammo barrels stored on the sides over there. That'll cause a nice big boom. There we go. A couple more good hits like that, and hopefully this guy will go on its way into, oh, well, wherever dead things go. Dead sea kraken things. Yeah. Let's get rid of some of this rain here. It's making it a little harder to see than I'd like. I think you can just hit F2 to do that. Yeah, that's clearing things up nicely. Ooh, dipped a little lower than I'd like there. This guy doesn't gain some altitude soon. He's going to be... Actually, I'm going to pull him from play here. Oh, nope, I can't. He's battling. Pull up! Pull up! There we go. That's safer. This guy occasionally gets a lot lower than I'd like him to go. I'm still not touching water, so I don't have to kill myself yet, but this is a lot closer than I'd like to be. Oh, and we're actually taking some fire here, too. This little wobbler here cannot take fire. It's really not designed for that. It's got very light armor and 6 ammunition barrels that are kind of unprotected on the top there. It's going to go down in a hurry if it gets hit. Let's go ahead and give this guy a little bit more speed on those rotors when he's at low altitude. In fact, let's just go ahead and set that all the way down. Yeah. Now, in theory, that should give us a little more lift. Yeah, just like that. Ooh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Come on. Come on. Back in the air. Back in the air. Into the air. Yes, yes. Oh. Nope, 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 nope. That's a lot closer than I'd like to be into the water. Come on, come on, get out of the water, out of the water. Robots do not like water. Yes, yes, robots do very much not like water. Hey, there's another good hit at least. Robots getting awful close to the water there. Okay, we actually won that fight, so I am going to get out of build mode and pull out of play. I'm going to have to do some reworking on this wobbler, because I don't like how low he's getting. Let's get out of the water there. Let's get back to our original position, and let's actually put him back in play so that I can edit him a bit. What I'm actually going to do is go into the settings on this and just bump the thrust, these upper thrusters back just a hair, and that should have us pointing a little bit further up. Yeah, that's more like it. Flying, well, still wobbly, but a little more stable. So the next thing I need to do is actually build another vehicle, and I'm not equipped to do that here. I want to build another resource gatherer in order to take advantage of the resources over there. But this vehicle, like I said, is really not equipped to do that yet, so let's go ahead and hit our MISC tab. Let's go to Vehicle Blueprint Spawner, grab a spawner, and let's plop it in right there. Let's spawn this a little ways away, and let's go until the thing is fully built. Time doesn't matter. And we're going to build another one of those scavy units that we have back at our starting base. Let's go ahead and load that in. Oh, and one other thing I just forgot. We are going to want some repair tentacles. Because without those, that vehicle is actually not going to get built at all. So, let's grab the repair tentacle. And this vehicle is so small and tiny, I'm actually going to go ahead and spring for the extra resource cost and put a compact repair tentacle on here. 2 of them, actually. There we go. So now you can see this is being built over there. And I think we actually want to go over this way. Please, 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 over that way. Please and thank you. That ain't good. Okay, okay. If we must, let's go in here, let's do a control tab, and let's actually go for a complex controller. I'm going to plop that guy down right there. I don't want to fly out of the edge of the map, you see, so I'm going to set this thing up to where I can fly it at least a little. So I'm going to, actually I want that on L, so that will have me turning to the right. Yeah. And then if I set this guy positive on J, then he should have me turning to the left. So, now if I hit L, yeah, now you can see we're turning. That is exactly what I want. Yeah, there we go. Now you can see I'm coming back from the brink there. Definitely do not want to be outside the map. And let's turn our heading just a little more north. Sorry for the wobbliness of this vehicle. It's not called the Wobbler for nothing. Let's take a look. Oh, it looks like, yeah, we finished our other scavy unit over there. So let's go ahead and pull everything out of play. I'm just going to hit pull all there. Now this guy should come back up here, and the scavy unit should head back up this way. So let's get him roughly over into position, and let's get him up to a nice altitude. And let's go ahead and pull everything. And move quickly. There we go. Let's go ahead and move this guy over there. We have some altitude, please. Okay, now, this guy, I'm not sure at all that he is actually in that resource zone. So what I'm going to do is head out of the map. I'm going to detach myself from that fleet, and I'm going to head back to the west. Go somewhere over here. Yes, here's a resource zone. And this guy is not quite in there yet, so I'm going to move him over this way a little. No, no, not that way. I'll actually move him over this way a little. Way higher than I'd like. And let's go up to 60, or down to 60 rather. That is pretty much smack dab in the middle of the resource zone. So I'm going to spawn him into play, and what this is going to do, he is going to spin up right here as he gets low enough. And he's going to go ahead and start harvesting some resources. So he will hopefully drain this zone dry, just as our guy over here is continuing to drain our first resource zone dry. And it looks like we have yet another fight over here. I'm going to let that sit for just a minute. You can see we've got invasion forces already coming from the Onyx Watch, we've got invasions from the Lightning Hoods, we've got invasions from the Deepwater Guard. These white flayers up here aren't real happy about the state of things either. They're sending reinforcements down this way, though it's not a direct attack yet. Alright, so by now this guy is sucking this zone dry. Pretty quick, actually. If I look back in here, you can see he's just bobbing up and down quite happily in that resource zone. So now that the game has recognized that this guy is in the resource zone and that he's actually harvesting, we are going to pull this guy back out of play. So he'll go back down there and he'll continue to harvest resources while we can go on about our business. Pardon. So let's put this guy back into play and let's warp to the chair. Well, we were already in the chair, but let's warp to the chair again, just in case. Yeah. So it looks like we have more sea vipers. Yay. These guys should explode pretty quick. Like I said, the Deepwater Guard really don't have much defense against missiles, nor do they really have any weaponry that can attack aircraft. Well, fast and small aircraft at this early stage in the game. It looks like I'm actually controlling the missile launcher there by accident, which is why it's firing off into the distance. I'll give that back to the AI there. And yeah, now we're scoring some hits. There we go. That's it, come on. Blow up. That's it. The single missile launcher isn't really obliterating even this tiny little weak vehicle with one launch. It's still taking 2 missiles apiece to take him out for the most part. But it's doing good work. I'm pretty happy with that little vehicle for now, at least. And you can see all those little birds floating around. Those birds follow your character wherever he is. So since I'm flying around in this fast little vehicle, birds are following me all over the place. And that's the last of this zone. So, we've conquered this one area. I think what we need to do next is actually build another one of these guys. I want to get a small fleet of these guys going. They're not terribly powerful, but they are perfectly capable of taking out almost anything in the very early game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this constructible. I'm going to go into my Let's Play folder, and we're going to save the updates to this guy in that folder. We've added a couple repair tentacles on this complex controller. We've assigned the controls. We've got this spawner. And speaking of the spawner, let's go ahead and spawn another one. So in theory, in a few moments we should end up with another Wobbler. You can definitely tell why I've named this thing the Wobbler. Not my best creation ever. Let's see, where are we here? Heading out this way. Not exactly where I'd like to be heading, but actually I can control that now. Let's turn you around to the north, shall we? Yeah, there we go. North. Not east, north. There we go. Despite all of the wobbling, our new Wobbler is actually getting assembled quite nicely. Once we have a pair of these things, I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a trick to keeping these from running into each other so much. Alright, so this one's now assembled. We're going to go into build mode on it. And we are actually going to, over here in the aerial movement algorithm, normally you set these cruising altitudes and minimum altitudes up here. And if you have aircraft, you don't want those operating on the same altitude, or even near the same altitude, because they will quite happily run into each other. So, I'm going to set those down a ways, and over here in our automated control block that spins up our rotors, I'm also going to change that down to 140-ish. There we go. Yeah. So now this guy should operate at a lower altitude. In theory, at least. Alright, let's go ahead and set up this guy into a fleet. So, I'm going to merge these two fleets together, and now we have a fleet of 2 Wobblers. And let's go ahead and rename that to Wobbly Fleet, because that's pretty much what it's doing. And it looks like we now have a Steel Strider assault inbound too. Looks like, yeah, a couple Deepwater Guard assaults. Yeah, bad times, they are a-coming. So let's go ahead and head up here. Let's see if we can acquire some more territory as quick as we can. So we're going to be needing resources as fast as we can get them. Yeah, bad times incoming. Let's go ahead and speed this up a little bit. Alright, and we have another fight here. Deepwater Guard is sending out a defense force. Let's go ahead and put these guys into play. And let's watch the action. See down there, that little wobbler is flying at a little lower altitude than this guy. And they're launching some missiles already. Looks like we just have... oh, we've got a Vanguard over there as well. It looks like his gun's already gone though. Well, that guy's already gone entirely. This guy has lost his gun, so I don't think this is going to be any challenge whatsoever. Yeah, those missiles are cleaning him off pretty good. Those missiles are just tiny little 3-block designs, and normally missiles will launch once every 2 seconds per block of length. So these are 3-block missiles. At 2 seconds per block, you have a 6-second reload time on each of those missiles. And they've got 2 warheads apiece on them, so they're actually launching quite a bit of firepower. Alright, let's go ahead and pull everything out of play here. And let's acquire our next and last resource zone for this episode. Because we're going to have to come back with some good new stuff in order to deal with all of this incoming. The lightning hoods there tend to have lasers, and those are just going to tear these tiny little vehicles apart. The Deepwater Guard can't hit us with their early vehicles. The lightning hoods most certainly can. In fact, almost any of these other factions can. Let's go ahead and speed this up a bit. Make sure we have some altitude there. Alrighty. And we're in combat again. Let's go ahead and spawn everything in. And fly over there with the camera. Actually, I can just hit tab and board over there. You can see this guy got awful low before those fans kicked in. A lot lower than I'd like, but not too concerned about that for now. Looks like we're going ahead and getting some missiles off on this fortress. Again, it's just a little Kraken. He's not too threatening. There you can see he did some pretty good damage to us before. Double the missiles, double the firepower, double the fun. This guy is not going to last long at all. Well, that is of course assuming that our missiles can figure out how to hit him. Yeah, it looks like we're carving some limbs off there. Oh yeah, and he's disintegrating. Alright, so that guy is already down. I am going to go ahead and spawn in another scabby unit. Oh, looks like that might have actually been a bit premature. We defeated the fortress there, but we did not defeat the guards around it. Fortunately, I don't think these guys are going to be much of a threat. You can see that scav unit being built, flying along, wobbling crazily behind all of our flyers there. That guy is blowing up. And this guy is going to be going down in a moment. One more missile. One more missile. Surely that'll do the trick. Yeah, that's it. Alright, and our scav unit is almost finished. I named this thing Scavvy because that's what it does. It scavenges. That's pretty much its only real purpose in life. I tell you what, I am actually on this guy. This guy really doesn't need a repair tentacle on him, which is the only thing that's keeping him from being considered fully built. There's a repair tentacle on the bottom of this thing just so I could get the first flyer kick-started. So I'm just going to go ahead and knock that guy off, and our scav unit should be free. Yep, there he is. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull these guys out of play, move the scav unit over into the right location, and I think that is all I'm going to do for this episode. So, let me know if you like this sort of content, if you prefer me to see me do anything else with this type of campaign, or if there's any format changes I should do or perform. And I guess I will see you guys next time. Thanks, and goodbye.